Good evening children, welcome to YepMaster, the school foundation program. I am your chemistry teacher, you know that. So, we are already started discussing about the states of matter. In that we have already discussed the solid state, liquid state and gaseous state, okay. And we have in the last class we have discussed even some of the questions that we can expect in the mains level examination, okay. Today let us focus on the questions that are given with respect to the advanced level from the states of matter what we have discussed, okay. So, if you look at the first question in this case, so the first question is given as which of the following is not an example of matter. So, they have given options to us and from the options we have to select that which of the following is not an example of matter. So, not an example of matter, we know that matter is according to our definition anything which has mass and which is going to occupy some space or which is going to occupy some volume is taken as the matter, okay. So, which of the following is not an example of matter, which is not a matter. So, we have to choose the example which is not a matter, okay. Air, we know air is going to possess some weight and it is going to occupy some space. Air is a gas, so gas can be considered as matter. So, this is not the correct answer in this case. So, this is matter, air is matter, okay. And when we look at the second dust particles, they are also going to have possess the mass and they are going to occupy the space, okay. So, the dust particles can be considered as matter. Feeling of cold, so you are feeling cold, cold is a feeling, it is not a matter, okay. It does not have any weight and it is not going to occupy the space, okay, it is just a feeling. So, feeling, therefore, we can say that this is not a matter, so this is not matter. Food that we take, food is going to have some mass and it is going to occupy some space, so we can categorize the food as matter. So, the given options air, dust and food are matter and the feeling of cold is not matter, it is just a feeling, it does not have any mass and it is not going to occupy any space, okay, it is not going to occupy any volume, it is not having a mass. So, just it is a feeling like angry, happiness, feeling cold, feeling hot. So, these are all feelings, they are not considered as matter, they are all feelings, okay. So, from this given 4 options if you observe, feeling of cold is not an example of matter. So, for this particular question what is correct answer? B is the correct answer, that is feeling of cold is not matter, okay. All other are matters, dust is going to occupy space, it will have mass, food and air we know they are all already classified we have them as matter, okay. Right, let us look at the second question. Which of the following has strong forces of attraction? Which of the following has strong forces of attraction? That is to say that strong intermolecular forces. What kind of forces here they are speaking about? They are speaking about the intermolecular forces of attraction. Intermolecular forces of attraction, okay. So, which of the following is going to have more or stronger intermolecular forces of attraction? That is to say that within the matter the particles are which are the following has very strong force of attraction between the particles, okay. Then in that case if you observe hydrogen chloride we write it as HCl. HCl is a gas. What is it? It is a gas. HCl, hydrogen chloride is a gas. Generally HCl solution we are going to use in the laboratory. How we are using HCl solution in the form of liquid? The gas is allowed to dissolve in water and that solution we are using, okay. So, HCl is actually speaking hydrogen and chlorine gases react together and produce hydrogen chloride, a gas, okay, it is a gas. Iodine, the previous class I think we have discussed about this one, iodine existing as I2 and it exists in nature as solid, iodine crystalline solid. So, the iodine crystals are existing in nature. Fluorine, if you observe it exists in nature as F2, but fluorine is a gas, fluorine is a gas, okay. Chlorine also in nature exists as diatomic molecule Cl2 and it also exists in nature as gaseous form. So among the given options, if you observe, among the given options, if you observe, hydrogen chloride HCl is a gas, fluorine is also a gas, chlorine is also a gas. So three options are gas, only one option is solid. So you can easily choose the answer. Which of the following will have strong intermolecular forces of attraction? Solids. Okay, in the last class we have discussed, when we are looking at the solid, liquid as well as the gaseous particles arrangement, if we observe from top to bottom, when we are moving from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, what happened to the intermolecular forces of attraction? They are going to decrease. The intermolecular forces of attractions will decrease when we are moving from solid to liquid, liquid to gas. So which is having maximum or strong intermolecular forces of attractions? Solids will have strong intermolecular forces of attraction, whereas gases will have the least intermolecular forces of attraction. So least intermolecular forces of attractions are present in the case of gases, maximum intermolecular forces are present in the case of solids. So here they are asking about the strong forces of attraction, so it should be solid only. So that is B option, iodine is the correct answer. So among the given options, if you observe, iodine existing as solid, so this is the correct option which has strong forces of attraction. Okay, I think you got clear idea how we are categorizing the molecules given. There is no mentioning about the physical states of these molecules. What we are doing, by writing the formula and by knowing their physical existence at room conditions, we are choosing the correct answer. Iodine in nature at room conditions exist as I2 solid form. So iodine should have the strong forces of attraction. Okay, right. Next one, which among the following pairs of substances has strong intermolecular forces of attraction? So again the question is given with respect to the strong intermolecular forces of attraction among the given species. Okay, so we have to choose that pair which has, pair means we have here we have two components in each option. So we have to choose that option in which the two compounds are solids under room condition. Okay, right. Let us look at the options given to us. Bromine, mercury, option A. Option B is gallium, bromine. Option C, bromine, sodium. Option D, carbon and potassium. So in order to answer this question, you should know how the bromine, mercury, gallium or the sodium, carbon, potassium exist in nature. You should know that one. Okay, the physical state of or the physical existence of these substances in nature is required. Okay, first you observe the bromine. Bromine, as we have discussed in the previous class, it exists in nature as Br2. Br2 is a liquid. What is it? Bromine in nature exists as liquid. Mercury, we know this is also going to exist. The only metal which exists in nature as liquid is mercury. Okay. Gallium, its melting point is very low. So at room conditions we can say it is a soft one, and generally it exists in the form of a semi-solid type kind. Okay. So we can take this one as the semi-solid, which is not exactly the solid in this case, and bromine exists as liquid. So first option, bromine and mercury both are liquids. Okay, but what we have to choose? We have to choose that pair which has strong intermolecular forces of attraction. Just now in the previous question we have discussed which state of matter will have strong intermolecular force of attraction? Solids. Okay, so we should choose that option in which both are solids. We have to choose that option in which both are solids. Okay, right. First option, bromine is liquid, mercury is also liquid, so it is ruled out. The second case, bromine is liquid, so therefore the second option is also ruled out. In third option we have bromine is a liquid, but when you look at the sodium in nature in existing as a metal, so it is a metal, so generally it is a solid component at room conditions. Okay. Carbon, we know it exists in the form of diamond and graphite forms, so solid is, the carbon is solid. Okay. Similarly potassium is also metal, so in nature it exists as solid. Okay. So when you observe the options given to us, Third option, bromine and sodium. Bromine is liquid, sodium is solid. Okay, so this is the only component which is solid. So therefore, this option C is also ruled out. Look at the carbon. Carbon is a solid. Potassium is also solid. So carbon and potassium should be the correct answer in this particular case. What they are asking? They are asking us to identify the pair in which the two substances are having strong intermolecular forces of attraction. So strong intermolecular forces of attractions are present in case of solids. So we should choose that option which has solids. Okay. So when you look at the given options, bromine is liquid, mercury is liquid. So bromine is present in all the options. In case of A we have bromine, in case of B also we have bromine, in case of C also we have bromine. So A, B, C are ruled out. So when you look at the option D, carbon in nature exists as solid form, potassium is a metal, it is also going to exist and in the form of solid. Sodium and potassium both are metals, so they exist in the solid form in nature. So potassium is a metal, carbon is also a metal, so option 4 is the correct answer. Okay, so option 4, carbon, potassium is the correct answer. Okay. Let us look at one more. Gases which are chemically inactive are called. Gases which are chemically inactive, they are not actively participating in the reaction. Okay, not active, inactive in the sense which are not active. Okay, activeness here in which respect they are active or not active? With respect to the chemical reactivity. With respect to chemical reactivity. Okay. So we have to choose from the given option which is not chemically reacting, which is chemically not responding, which will not respond on a chemical reaction, for a chemical reaction, that we have to choose. Okay, right. If you observe the options given to us, yeah, they have given in inert gases. Inert means not reactive. Okay, inert means not reactive. So automatically the gases which are not reacting chemically are called inert gases. If the gases which are reacting chemically very fastly, they are called as active gases. Okay, both A and B is not correct one. Halogens are chemically reactive. Okay, these are chemically reactive. Chemically reactive. So we cannot consider D also as a correct option. So the gases which are chemically inactive, which are not going to participate in chemical reactions, they are all called as inert gases. Inert gases means generally these are all 0 group elements, or we can call them as 18th group elements, or they are also known as noble gases. Inert gases, noble gases, 0 group elements, or they are also called as 18th group elements. Okay. Once you look at the periodic table, we will come to know all these things. Okay, the gases which are chemically inactive are called inert gases, right? Let us see one more. The basic form of matter is, what is exactly the basic form of matter? While we are discussing about the matter and its properties, there I have told you that matter is made up of small particles. Matter is made up of small particles, and in between these particles there is a space that is called as intermolecular spaces. Okay, and these particles will attract each other, they are called as intermolecular attractions, and these particles are in a continuous random motion that we have discussed. There I told you that these particles in this case the matter is made up of very small particles. The particle may be an atom or a molecule or maybe an ion that can be taken with respect to that particular given matter. Okay. So what is exactly the basic form of matter? Solid, liquid and gas. When you observe solid, liquid and gas, what are they? They are all classification, the different types of matter. Solid, liquid, gas are different types of matter. But what is the basic form of matter? Basic form of matter is element. For example, if you are going to take a diamond, in the case of diamond, what is that present in that case? Diamond, we know diamond is going to have weight and it is going to occupy some volume. So it is a matter. Okay. So diamond is a matter, and when you observe the internal structure, within the diamond we have carbon atoms. So what are these? Carbon element is present. So we can take the basic form of the matter is element, the element that is present. Okay. For example, if you take hydrogen, hydrogen is an element, oxygen an element. So, element is the basic form of matter. What is the basic form of matter? Basic form of matter is an element. Okay. Very good. What about the solid, liquid and gas? Solid, liquid and gas, they are the different types of matter. Solid also may be made up of elements, maybe liquid also made up of elements, gas may also be made up of elements. For example, if you take helium gas it exists in the nature as monoatomic, and when you look at the helium gas, helium atoms are present, helium element is present in the gas. When you look at the liquid like mercury, mercury is a liquid, it exists as Hg. Okay. So, when you observe the liquid mercury, in that case what is that? Mercury is an element. So, element is present in the liquid, and liquid is made up of element only. When you look at the diamond, diamond carbon is present. So, what is carbon? Carbon is an element. This solid diamond is made up of element only. So, the basic form of matter is element. What is it? Element. Okay. You have to remember these things, ma, right? Yeah. In the case of advanced level questions, advanced level examination questions, if you observe, we come across the questions where one or more than one option correct type are also possible. Okay. So, they will give you the question, they will give you the 4 options. From the 4 options, you have to select the correct options. Of course, there are some instances where we get only one correct answer, but of course, they will give you 2 or more than 2 also as a correct answer. So, 1 may be the correct or more than 1 options are also correct in these kind of questions. So, you have to be very careful while choosing the options, particularly from this kind of questions. Okay. Let us look at the 1 or more than 1 option correct type of question. Matter has the following characters. Matter has the following character. Matter, it is going to has mass. Anything which has mass is going to occupy some space. Going to occupy some space. So, it is having volume, and we know that matter is made up of particle. So, all are correct answers. A is correct because matter has mass. B is also correct because it is going to occupy some volume. Occupying some space is also correct with respect to the matter. Okay. And when you observe the matter, matter is made up of particles. So, all options are correct in this particular case. Matter has mass, matter has volume, matter occupy space, and matter is made up of particles. They are called as atoms or maybe molecules or maybe ions. Okay. It is made up of elements, you can say. Okay. Second one, among the following the monoatomic element is R. Monoatomic elements or element is. Okay. So, if we observe here, monoatomic means it should have only one atom, diatomic means it should have 2 atoms, triatomic means it should have 3 atoms. So, in nature you have to choose that element which exists in the monoatomic form. Monoatomic means only one atom is present and it is not going to react further. Okay. Therefore, thereby it exists in nature as monoatomic only with one atom. So, helium, if you observe, helium in nature exists as He and it is existing as monoatomic gas. When you observe the oxygen, oxygen in nature is existing as O2, diatomic molecule. Oxygen is diatomic molecule. In nature it exists as O2. O2 in the sense 2 oxygen atoms are combining together and forming oxygen molecule. So, O2 is the molecular form, it is in diatomic phase. Okay. How many atoms are present in the case of oxygen? 2 atoms are present. So, it is a diatomic molecule. Okay. Look at the nitrogen. Nitrogen in nature exists as N2. Nitrogen is also a diatomic molecule. When you observe the 2 nitrogen atoms, the 2 nitrogen atoms are connected by a triple bond. 2 nitrogen atoms are connected by triple bond. In the case of oxygen, if you observe, the 2 oxygen atoms are connected by a double bond. Okay. In nature, oxygen exists as O2, it is a diatomic molecule. When you look at the structure, 2 oxygen atoms are connected with a double bond. If you observe the nitrogen, nitrogen in nature exists as nitrogen molecule N2, okay, diatomic form, and here 2 nitrogen atoms are connected by a triple bond. And when you observe the 4th option, it is xenon. Xenon in nature exists as xenon Xe only, it is monoatomic. Okay. So, what the options for this particular question, if you observe, among the following, the monoatomic elements, what are the monoatomic elements in this case? Helium is monoatomic, in nature it existing as He only. Xenon in nature existing as Xe. So, these A as well as D are both correct answer for this particular question. Okay. So, helium and xenon, they exist as monoatomic elements in nature. Okay. All the noble gases we have discussed in the previous section also. So, noble gases, if we observe, all the noble gases, the inert gases, the helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. Helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. All these elements in nature, they exist as monoatomic gases. They exist as monoatomic gases. Okay. So, option A is correct as well as option D is also correct, which is xenon. Okay. Helium and xenon are the correct option for this particular question. Yeah, property exploited in the usage of perfumes. Property exploited, that is responsible. Okay, the property that is responsible for the usage of perfumes. So, we know that whenever a perfume is taken, I think you have observed, when you go to a store to buy a perfume bottle, what do you say? Generally we see the smell. So, in order to see the smell, we generally open or we trigger that particular button. Okay. Thereby what happens, the perfume will come out. So, we can enjoy the smell. For example, if you are going to a perfume shop, let us say, as soon as you enter into the perfume shop, what happens? You can easily enjoy the smell that is given by the perfume. Okay. And similarly, if you have brought a perfume and you are using the perfume and you are going to school, so that as soon as you enter your classroom, your friends and other people can easily identify that you have entered if you are using regularly the same perfume. Okay. So, the perfume can be easily smelled, I mean the smell of the perfume easily spreads throughout the room in which you are entering. Okay. So, here how the smell is going on, how the smell is spreading throughout the room. So, if we observe that one, the process of expansion or the process of the homogeneous mixing of the or spontaneous mixing of the two gases or the air with the perfume gas is generally taken as diffusion process. Okay, this is known as diffusion. So, diffusion is one factor which is responsible or exploited in the case of perfumes, and we know that within the bottle, and of course, as soon as you open the perfume bottle, it is having a expansion. So, it is easily expands throughout the volume that is available. So, we can even take expansibility of the gases. Okay. And the gases have negligible intermolecular forces of attraction. Of course, usage of perfumes, if you take, we can generally restrict our correct options to diffusion as well as compressibility. Okay. Sorry, expansibility of the gases and diffusion of gases. And when you take the gas perfume bottle, if you observe, so there within the bottle very high pressure is present. So, what is happening over there? We are compressing the company which is making that perfume, they are compressing the perfume and they are making it to occupy the total bottle, the small bottle. Okay. So, when we, I mean it is completely filled up and the small nozzle is provided. Once you press the nozzle, what happens? The gas will come out. Why it is coming out? Because of the high compressibility that is present in the case of gases. Okay. So, here the perfume is a gas and it is highly compressed, this much amount of gas is compressed into a small bottle. So, that as soon as you press that button, from the nozzle the gas will come out or the perfume will come out. Okay. So, perfume is kept in the bottle by the compressibility process, and the gas is coming out, the perfume is coming out because of the diffusion of the gases, and it is going on, and other people can also easily smell, easily enjoy the smell of the perfume is due to the expansibility of the gases. So, all these three parameters can be taken as correct property that can be exploited in the usage of perfumes. Compressibility, compressing the gas, perfume gas within a small bottle, and the property of mixing of the perfume with the air, thereby other people can enjoy, and the expansibility, easily expanding throughout the volume that is available to it, and thereby you can easily observe the perfume smell. Okay. Matrix matching type. So, if you observe the matrix matching type, generally two columns are given for the matrix matching. So, you have to correlate the properties given in column 1 to the properties given in the column 2. Okay. So, the correlation is required, and in this case you have to understand what is the component that are given in column 1, what are the components given in column 2, and you have to correlate. And there are some instances where we can get 2 or more options, or 2 or more correlations are possible. For a property mentioned in column 1, we will have 2 properties in column 2. So, those kind of questions can be expected at advanced level. Okay. So, let us see the simple one now. So, in case of column 1, they have given gases, liquids, solids, Bose-Einstein condensate. We have not discussed the Bose-Einstein condensate, I think, right? Yeah, we have discussed the Bose-Einstein condensate as well, right? So, if you observe the Bose-Einstein condensate, solids, liquids and gases are given in case of column 1, and in the case of column 2, they have given the first option as tight packing of molecules, loose packing of molecules, fifth state of matter, can flow, definite shape. Definite shape in the sense fixed shape. Now, you have to take the column 1 and you have to match correct properties with respect to the column 2, right. Gases, which property is going to match? Gases can flow, right, gases can flow. Okay. Tight packing is not possible in the case of gases. Loose packing is not the correct one, it is very loose packing. Okay. For gases we say very loose packing, but so therefore option Q is also ruled out. It is not a fifth state of matter. So, gas can easily flow. Can we expect a definite shape for gas? No, gases neither have a definite shape nor definite volume. So, here gases is correlated to yes, that can flow. Liquids, in case of liquids we cannot expect the tight packing, but we can expect the loose packing. So, loose packing of molecules possible in the case of the liquids. It is not fifth state of matter. Okay. And we know liquids can even flow, liquid can also flow, right. So, liquids can be correlated to Q as well as S. Can we expect a definite shape in the case of liquids? No, liquids does not have definite shape, they will have definite volume but not shape. So, this T is ruled out. Look at that solids then. In case of solids, the packing is tight packing, yes, tight packing of molecule takes place, it is not loose packing, it is not fifth state of matter. Solids cannot flow, but solids will have definite shape. So, definite shape is possible for solids. So, solids in this case correlated to P as well as T, that is definite shape. Bose-Einstein condensate, if we observe, so we can directly correlate it to the fifth state of matter. So, Bose-Einstein condensate is fifth state of matter. So, if you observe what we are doing here, how the A is correlated? A is correlated to S, okay. And when you observe the B is correlated to Q as well as S, okay, both Q and as well as S. C is correlated to P as well as T, okay, and D is correlated to R, D correlated to R. So, this is how we have to correlate. See, the properties that are given in column 1 are to be matched with the properties that are given in column 2. So, you should be very careful, you should each and every property of column 1 should match, try to match with the column 2 properties, then write the options. Okay. Here if you observe B is correlated to the 2 properties, C is also correlated to the 2 properties. I think students, you have got the correct idea how to handle these kind of questions at advanced level of examinations, right. We will come up with some more questions in the next class. Until then, have a nice time. Thank you.